speech, and I about peed my pants in joy. That was the best news I had heard in I'm a conservative.
Right.
I'm not a member of the Republican Party. I left them years ago, but I always vote the ticket. It doesn't matter how wonderful the guy is when he comes in from a third party. He's not going to get elected, so I would never give him my vote. But I wouldn't mind a given race falling to a Democrat if it's a Democrat and not a socialist. But it just drives me crazy. Blood comes out of my eyes when I see people like, that idiot up in Minnesota.
Franken?
The old Franken, Al Franken. When he won that, and he won it by about 130 votes, and there were like 380 votes that were cast illegally, and they all were Democrat votes. When I see the idiots, Clay Aiken, if he had won, I'd have been screaming. The one we just talked about earlier, the one Rush Limbaugh called a horse, Sandra Fluke. If she'd have won, I just lose hope when I see enough idiots lining up to vote for absolute morons. If a Ted Kennedy steps up and he's a Democrat that he's talking about for the most part, good, decent things and loves America and all that, you live with it. It's part of the game.
Well, most Democrats running today aren't that Democrat anymore. They're not. They've all gone completely over far left, and they've left their party. And a lot of their voters cannot see that. They're still blind to the fact that this party is not the same party that their parents, their grandparents, that they've all for so long have just pulled the bar for. If it said D after the name, we'd vote for them no matter what. And that party don't exist anymore. And then, the same thing could be said for the Republican Party because it's moved to the middle and it's creeping to the left side of the center right now. A lot of the leadership and the established Republicans anyway. So the elections nowadays, a lot of people say they don't matter. We have a right in this country to cast a ballot, and I'm going to keep voting. I'm not ever going to give up on the elections, but change has got to come from this. They just can't waste it. They can't waste it this time.
Well, there's the old quote that those who vote decide nothing. Those that count the votes decide everything.
Yep, exactly. And
that was a quote by Joseph Stalin, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Tell me about it. It sounded like it came from Obama, right?
Or his handlers, one or the other.
Yep, exactly. And fortunately, we've got 24 states now with the voter ID laws. And when you've got that, it's going to stop a lot of the voter fraud. Not all of it, because voter ID doesn't solve machines that flip over. There was one district in Texas where the Republican candidate for governor, now the governor-elect, wasn't even on the ballot. There was a precinct, I think it was just a precinct, where Greg Abbott was not even on the ballot, yet Drew Hurst, who's not running for anything, was on the ballot. Now, how did this happen?
Well, I was wondering about that because when I went in to vote, because I voted yesterday, I took off early from work to do it. It was raining here, so I didn't want to be standing outside after work and waiting in line. But I went in, and they had all the machines like that, the computer machines, all covered up with tarps. They weren't even letting them be used. We went back to the old-fashioned paper ballot, fill in the square, and feed it through the machine. So that's how we voted here, but I'm not sure what caused it. But when I tried to put my ballot through the machine, it kept coming back to me. There was an error on my ballot. So the guy come over and looked at it.
That means you didn't vote the way the people that programmed the machine wanted you to vote, huh?
Well, it said I voted twice on one race. So what it was, there was a printing error on that because the next person after me had the same problem. But what he wanted to do is he wanted to discount that one race and to let my card go through and it'd count the votes. But he wouldn't let me look at the back of the machine, so I said, no, I'll just take another ballot and recolor in the blocks. So it took me another 5 minutes to do that. So it took me twice as long to vote as I would have wanted, but I wanted to make sure I got all my votes in there, no matter what.
Exactly.
Most of them are going to win anyway because this is Texas, and the area where I live in is kind of heavily conservative, if not Republican. Republican, if not conservative. So I was pretty sure about all the people I was going to vote for were going to win anyway. But,
have you seen any numbers as to what the Obama administration's Act for America and the Take Texas Blue Committee? How much money did they dump into Texas?
I had not heard. I mean, I'm glad they lost it. Texas thanks you for the economy boost, but
amen.
I hope it's I've also seen many opinions where people, they come down here thinking they're going to turn Texas blue, but what they did is they pushed more Texans to the red side. I think I didn't know anybody of my friends that were Democrats that were in a big hurry to go vote. I mean, they were just ho-hum another midterm election or whatever. But last time they weren't like that because they knew it was a big one for Obama. But this time they just didn't care. They were just out there.
And it's often like that. In all fairness, it's often like that on midterms.
Right.
But I think you're right. I think it was much more pronounced this time, and more pronounced from the Democrat side. Usually, it's more of a balance. Who really cares about the midterms?
Well, I think the Tea Party and the conservatives in Texas were extra pumped this time just because of the battleground Texas people coming down here trying to pull those switcheroo on us with the Northeast and Hollywood money, trying to buy our state, our political future. And I think that really got a lot of people energized to get out and vote yesterday and during the early voting period.
And they did dump a boatload of money. I'm going to have to do some research and come up with some numbers on it for the next show. But I know they just poured money into the state. And that was nice of them because we like money.
We do. Texas does live on money.
We do, brother. I need you to stick around.
Sure.
When we come back, I want to talk about what we need to do now, what the Senate needs to do, what the House needs to do, where we go from here. We got 2 more years with this piece of crap in the White House. Let's talk about where they should go from here. We do need to take another quick break, though. Stick around.
Listen to AM 1050 KCAA. It makes people wonder what you're up to.
Tom O'Halloran, holding the line against tyranny from Washington, D.C.
I am America, one voice, united we stand. I am America, one hope to heal our land. There is still work that must be done. I will not rest until we've won. I am America.
Welcome back. This is the fastest hour in radio. This is the Wednesday night edition of the Patriot-Radio Show with Tom O'Halloran, I being he. Tonight we're joined by a good friend of mine, Smokey from Texas. Follow him on Twitter at Smokey_Texas. He and Gulf Dogs, otherwise known as Brian and Ron, do one of the best shows on Blog Talk Radio. If you go to Patriot-Radio-Show.com, at the top of the center column, you'll see a big red banner that says Radio Shows I Like. Click on the banner. It'll open up a list of other radio shows that I listen to. Right at the top, you'll see the Halls of Valhalla. They have 3 radio shows on there, Spin This, the Halls of Valhalla, and the Brian and Ron Show, the BNR Show, The Last Stand. Energize your week. Tune in Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Listen to one of the best shows on Blog Talk Radio. It's a terrific show. Log into the chat room. There's always 30 to 40 people there. Great way to spend a couple of hours on a Sunday night. Brian, I appreciate you calling in. When I decided I was going to have an easy show just talking about stuff, you're the first one that came to mind. because I just wanted to have a conversation. I didn't want to go pedantic. I didn't want to rant and rave tonight. I didn't want to tick anybody off. I'm just chilling, and I'm glad that you're here to chill with me, brother.
No, anytime, Tom. I'm having fun.
So we won. We've got not a veto-proof Senate, but we've got a solid Senate. We've got a historical high of the House. So what do? If we pass any laws, Obama's going to veto them. If it's anything to do with striking his agenda down, he's going to veto them. He's already said that. He's already said, I'll invite him to meetings, I'll talk to him, I'll work with him, but I'll still use my executive action and get my things done and veto anything that's anti my agenda. So where do we go?
Well, I'd say we start taking apart everything he's had passed that he's done with executive order. We start voting, passing bills to get those things removed one at a time. Send it up there and let him use that pen in a legal fashion. At least the veto is within the Constitution. It's not beyond the Constitution. Work around a way to get around the legislature that he knew he couldn't get anything through last time. Let's make him use that pen legally, and then sooner or later the American people will get some Democrats to go along with the Republicans. I can't believe that in the Senate that there's not going to be some Democrats that will swap their votes. I mean, I know it's a pipe dream, but I have a feeling that there's quite a few over there that are kind of tired of having to toe the party line, and that would be willing to do something like that. How many bills are sitting on Harry Reid's desk that he never even called for a vote? How about putting them things up for a vote and sending them to Obama? One at a time. Send them up there, make him make a decision on them. Let the American people say, this is the one that's not working with Congress. This is where all the stuff is. It was in the old Senate, and it's at the White House. I mean, we're trying to get stuff done, and they're not going along with it.
That's absolutely right. Congress had passed, I believe it's 460 bills through the Republican, and it was a lot of them were very bipartisan. They sent 160 bills up to the Senate, all of which Harry Reid refused to even bring to a vote. So Congress can almost sit back on their laurels and let some of the stuff they've already done come to fruition. Let the new Senate leadership bring him up to vote and take him on. But if we pass a bill a week through the House and Senate, and Obama rejects and vetoes each one of them, and we don't have the votes to override the veto, how many do we keep doing this with before we try something different? And along with that, do you foresee, now that we have the Senate, because a lot of people complain, why don't we impeach him? Why don't we impeach him? And shamefully, but I understood why the House, Boehner, and the rest of them never impeached Obama. We could get him impeached, but Harry Reid would refuse to hear the case, or they'd find him not guilty, and we'd be like we were with Bill Clinton. It achieves nothing. It's like peeing your pants in a dark suit. It makes you feel good, but nobody notices.
Well, even now, the 51 votes or even 54, I don't think that's enough to get him impeached. I think it's got to be two-thirds vote, doesn't it, to get him impeached? I don't think just a majority. I don't think that does it, but I might be wrong there. But yeah,
no, I think you're right. I hadn't thought it out that far.
But I
hadn't thought
agree.
it out that far.
I don't think an impeachment is going to happen unless he does this amnesty thing. Then that, to me, that is an impeachable offense, because in the Constitution it says that should be done in the Senate. That was the Senate that should be done that. And if he does that, to me, that's unconstitutional, and that's just another one of your you can add to your big long list of things that you read out on Tuesday night that he's done over and beyond that are treasonous or aiding and abetting our enemies in the Middle East. Everything he's done is anti-American or anti-Constitution. So that's just another one of those things that would fit right in.